This is The Roadmap with Ted Jenkin.
Hey everybody, I'm Ted Jenkin, host of The Roadmap. Thanks for joining us this week exclusively here on America's Small Business Network. Glad you could join us because every week I bring you some of the brightest and best CEOs and entrepreneurs and business owners all around the country in all kinds of disciplines, blue collar, white collar businesses, because I want to show you how do you start a business, how do you grow one, and maybe one day you exit stage left. Today I've got a great entrepreneur here, Hunter Cluthe. He's the founder and head of school of the William and Reed Academy. It is a for-profit school, and so I just want to ask you to get this thing going in here. What inspired you to say, I want to start my own school, I want to teach kids? What inspired you to do that?
I just think working as a public school teacher with incredibly talented teachers, they were just burning out. They were looking to walk
in the public school system.
In public school system, they were coming in just defeated, saying, I got 170 kids, all with cell phones. I don't have administrative support. I don't have parental support. I have no traction. I'm on at the time it was monster.com, putting their resume up. And it made me just think, what a waste of amazing talent in these people that were just born to be teachers. And I said, hey, if we could put our heads together and come up with the ultimate school, what would it look like? And we came up with this great business model called William and Reed Academy.
Wait, so let's settle this score about education and start this thing, because I've seen a lot of articles as of late around this whole notion of kids should have cell phones, kids should not have cell phones, and I feel like it's a distraction personally. But you know, what is it like at the school, and where's that all going to head with education?
So if you were a parent coming into our school, I would say in our initial conversation, we're just sizing up each other's values, and our values need to be aligned. And I think one of our values is establishing boundaries with technology. And everywhere you go, you'll see not only students, but their parents glued to their phone, and they're not living in the moment. And so I think we do a really good job with our policies and procedures and the teachers holding kids accountable to kind of draw a line and get some boundaries with the technology. Ultimately, it's bad. They're bad. Social media is bad. The amount of applicants that are coming in with anxiety and depression, it's just through the roof. And I think there's a direct correlation with cell phone use and especially social media.
Do you really need it during the day?
You don't
need to call mom and dad in the middle of the day. You're at school.
Right, that's what I say. So I tell the kids, I said, and this doesn't resonate with them because I'm an older guy. I said, you're not Doogie Howser on call.
Doogie Howser.
You're not on call to go do brain surgery, right? Your Snapchat can wait till in between classes. So our school we call it cell phone jail. It's basically a shoe bag on the wall. Kids come in, they drop it in, and they have to engage. There's a very high level of accountability at our school.
I personally think that what's happening in the education system is all messed up, because I can remember as a high school student, I had to take shop. And let me just say this for the record, folks. I was really, really bad at shop. Bad. I realized I could never go. But the whole thing is, why aren't kids exposed today to multiple ideas of ways to grow your career? Because there is nothing negative in America. In fact, Mike Rowe will tell you it's a positive to be in a blue collar business. Some people are meant to be entrepreneurs. And of course, college is a great path, but maybe not for everybody. How do you manage that as you try to help kids think about their future?
We try and expose students to so many things. We have something called Mini-Mester, where we take 4 weeks that kind of hug winter break. We bring in parents and we have an entrepreneur class. We actually have Shark Tank.
I like it.
And the kids have to present their business idea. I'm Mr. Wonderful with the bald head. And I'll always watch an episode or two to get back in the mix. I'm like, you're dead to me. You know, some kids almost cry, but we get it under control. But I agree that, like our philosophy with college is a fit to be made, not a prize to be won. I feel the same way with matching kids with careers.
Right.
Like last year we had our first graduate go directly into the Army.
That's
and
fantastic.
He's
We need more people in the military.
But we helped him utilize that experience and create a long-term plan, not just go in blind. It's going to serve a purpose for him with the GI Bill and picking up skills.
Sure.
He might be a lifetime Army person, like a lifer, and he might get out and do some other things. But we also had a student last year his dad does like granite countertops, and he wants to be an HVAC tech. And school just isn't for him, and we got him over the finish line. But along the way, because we were able to hold him accountable, he grew his confidence and leadership skills. And that's
Right.
ultimately, that's what we're doing at our school at William and Reed
So
Academy.
in a model where you're actually starting your own school, are there rules and regulations, state to state, licenses that you have to have if you want to open your own school? Or can you just say, hey, everybody, I'm open for business. I've got a school.
You need a city or county license, depending on where you are.
Okay.
And then ultimately you need accreditation. And that's, I think, where I was going with the bank. I'm getting a
Right.
little old, man.
Yeah.
Next week is my birthday. But with the bank, with accreditation, you cannot open a school being accredited because
Right.
they need to come see it and they have nothing to see until you're open. And then the gold standard of accreditation, which is called Cognia, it used to be Advanced Ed, and back when I was
Okay.
growing up, SACS, Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, you have to be open for 3 years before you could even apply. So what we did is we got a state accreditation out of Athens. It's called the Georgia Accrediting Commission. And we had kids
Interesting.
immediately graduate and go to great schools. That state level accreditation did not hold us back at all, but ultimately we got Cognia accredited. And so that lends credence to it. But sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so I was just saying, when you build out this model, obviously every business you try to build a pro forma and it evolves over time. How did you figure out how to price out tuition? Because obviously there's a hard cost in here for educators. You have the basic things like rent, and obviously you'd have other equipment in there and overall general administrative expenses. How do you price that out to be market competitive yet be profitable at the same time?
Great question. First thing I did was I started shopping other private schools in the area.
Okay.
And our
Yeah.
business model is unique in that our teachers are not working a 40-hour week.
They're not?
No, we're 4 days a week, 8 to 12:30 with an option to stay till 3 in the afternoon,
Wow.
which really restores the work-life balance, not only for the students, but for our faculty. That's why they love working there. Morale is high. We're not burning these kids out. We get energetic kids ready to learn all the time. So what I did is, of course, I created my fixed costs, and this is where the tutoring center came in handy because I already had experience paying people, insurance. There's a lot of things that people don't think about when they start a business. When you own a school, there's a lot of liability, so your insurance costs are very high. And so what I did is I just kind of worked backwards from there. I created a spreadsheet with all my fixed costs. If we have this many teachers and we pay them this much, then where's the sweet spot with tuition? And it's really become a win-win. The teachers probably don't make what they would make at a full-time job at a public school, but proportionally they're making
And
more
a lot
money.
more flexibility.
A lot more flexibility, and proportionally, like per hour, they're making more at William and Reed Academy.
How do you recruit the kids though? Because I guess in the end you've got to have students there. I mean, you could have great educators, you could have a great space, you have kids. What's the recruiting plan look like to get the awareness out there for the academy, and then convince parents like this is the right place for their child, and maybe vice versa?
Well, for us, the credentials of our teachers automatically gave credibility to the school. And so I remember the first year we opened, we had 4 teachers and 10 students. Just came off the street. And
That's a great ratio, 3 to 1 roughly, right?
By the end of the year, we had 32 students.
Right.
To the point where I closed the tutoring center and just focused solely on the school. And then really, honestly, when business owners tell you word of mouth is your best marketing tool, they're absolutely right. And so for us, what we've done, we're in year 11 right now.
Wow.
But what we've done is we've really honed in our admissions process to put the right families in the school. And that has led to other like-minded families coming. And it's just been amazing. It's been one heck of a ride.
Well, then you don't have to sell up tuition or why to be there. The parents say my kids love it here, because I understand you have even for a small school, because there's like 150 kids, you have a pretty spectacular sports program. What's that look like?
We do. So because of our abbreviated schedule, we have a lot of very serious athletes that will come. They don't want to do a 2 to 3 day a week homeschool program.
Right.
Or online, which is really kind of the pitch for most kids. And here they are. They're getting the best teachers in North Fulton and Forsyth County, and a couple from Gwinnett in a small class environment. And so our program immediately when we opened, we got some really I guess they would call 5-star recruit tennis players.
Wow.
And then their friends came. I mean, these are kids that played at Georgia Tech and Georgia. And we just kind of ride that out. But the parents know school comes first at William and Reed. Not sports, but they have time to follow the athletics that they want to do.
How do you manage the parents today? I feel like when I was growing up, parents weren't quite as vocal. Teachers could kind of do what they want to do. If they were mean, they were mean. If they were nice, they were nice. But today I feel like, I don't want to call it helicopter parenting, but they're definitely parents have more of a say, I feel like, than they used to. How do you manage that when you have parents that just sort of get in your grill?
Well, I think the admissions process, if you see trouble, you run the other direction. And anyone that knows a business, the saying that, 90% of your problems come from 10% of your clients,
So
or
true.
80-20.
So true.
If you can see that on the front end, just pass. Just pass. If you're
It's not
able
worth
to,
it,
it's
right?
not worth it. I remember we had a family who, they were just too good for carpool. Like their time was more valuable than everybody else. And we kind of let them go at the end of the year because it wasn't that, it was just all of it. And the school that they applied to, that head of school reached out and said, what's the real story? He said, I make one of these calls a year, head of school to head of school, confidentially. What's the story with this family? And I said, well, I think the best way of saying is they're too good for carpool. He goes, we don't need them. We don't need the income. I know the parent you're talking about, we're good. On the flip side, I think a lot of parents are navigating parenthood. And I spend a lot of my time coaching the parents and giving them confidence to kind of tackle problems with their child together. There's a big team effort, like, we're going to help you with this. Sometimes I'll put the student in the room with the parents and give this child an ultimatum so when the parent gets home, they can say, you heard Mr. Cluthe say it. You need to get this done and be in bed by 11 o'clock.
That's the way it used to be.
It used to be that way, yeah. So
I remember
going old school.
Teachers could throw stuff at you in the classroom and you couldn't say anything. That's
No,
just the
you
way
take it like a man. Take your medicine.
So now that the business has grown, you're 11 years into this. Do you think differently about how you scale the business now? And I know one of the big decisions is you lease space now. You might consider getting your own building. What goes into that thought process now that it's a more mature business?
It's funny because when we started, all I wanted was our standalone, own a building, build a gym, have it all. And it's shifted a little bit. And I think things will happen when you least expect it, but we're doing great where we are. I mean, the level of education and success of our parents that could put their kids in any school. I mean, if I listed off the top schools, many of which are in Buckhead, where those students are now at our school, it's humbling. So I'm not so hot to trot to own a building with real estate prices high right now and construction. I'm just kind of working on, building what we have, which is great, and getting that foundation there where if an opportunity does arise, I'm not actively seeking it out as much as I used to, but we're ready to pounce. So, yeah.
You're such a powerful figure as the head of the school, and a lot of business owners don't think about succession plans. But I say this like, what if you did get hit by a bus? Do you think about like how somebody would be able to run the school? Do you try to train a Generation 2 person there? How do you think about that?
Absolutely, that's exactly what we do. And so I've spent a lot of time with my attorney that does wills and things like that, and we have a business succession plan in place.
Smart.
And then another administrator in school and my administrative team, they're kind of trained on if something happened to me, what to do immediately. Like there's a playbook for them.
Yeah.
Who even to call to maybe to sell the business and let someone else burden that, right? And so that's super, super important. Like I cannot put enough emphasis on insurance and having your ducks in a row, having contingency plans for things that might go awry.
Does a child have a better chance of getting into schools like the University of Georgia when they go to a private school versus a public school? I only ask this because I heard in some of the bigger public schools, there's only so many applicants from that one school that may be able to get into a college university. I don't know that to be a fact, but I'm just curious, being that you're an educator, an administrator, what does that look like?
Okay, so we have a college counselor. This is a phenomenal question, and I'll try to make it short.
Yeah.
We're on TV. So basically, when someone applies to a college, that school will send transcripts and a school profile because University of Georgia, initially, they don't know what William and Reed Academy is, right? Virginia Tech, Duke, they don't know what William and Reed Academy is. So the school profile explains, hey, these are the AP courses we offer. This is our average ACT, SAT score. These are the college acceptances from last year's graduating class. So it gives you credibility. And what really happens is, the shorter answer is, I believe students have an advantage coming from a smaller private school because you only get judged against what is offered to you. So if you had two equal candidates who had, let's say, a 4.0 GPA and took 6 AP classes, and one is at a big high school that offers 30 AP classes, and one is at William and Reed that offers 9, which is still a lot for a small school.
Right.
Our student would have the advantage because they took a higher ratio of the rigorous classes available to them.
Wow.
So it's been a ride seeing kids go to Georgia Tech Honors Program, UGA. I mean, we have kids all across the country, even different countries studying right now, and it's very humbling. It's awesome.
Do you do any international students at all?
We do. We had we do not have an I-20 visa. We don't issue visas for international students, but we did have a student who got recruited to play professional soccer in Italy.
Wow. And
we let him work with our online vendor. He was a senior to go ahead and graduate with William and Reed Academy, and he's doing very well.
You know, as you think about the future, has anyone ever approached you to want to try to buy your business?
Yes. So year 3, and I had no idea. I mean, I'm from an educational background. I don't have a business degree. I've had to learn a lot of this on the go. And that was kind of cool when someone comes in and puts a number in front of you, and I just wasn't ready. And I hadn't grown it to be ready to pass it on to somebody. But yes, it was really cool when someone approached us and said, we heard they own a conglomerate of schools, and they said, you know, we have very few high schools, and instead of creating one, let's just buy a good one. And it was awesome, but I denied the offer. And so I'm not ready yet, but it's been awesome.
Very cool stuff. Well, thanks for sharing your story. Tremendous growth story, folks. We talk about this every week right here on the Roadmap. What a cool idea that you think I could start a school one day and impact not only tons of parents' lives, but 150 students and helping them have education in quite a different way. Every week right here on the Roadmap, we bring you these powerful stories right here on America's Small Business Network. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks for watching The Roadmap with Ted Jenkins.